Today, I want to talk about PACE Morby Subto class and the students. The students are really what most intrigue me of all because I've talked to probably 100 of the students and I've not seen any success at all. But what I've seen is many of them, and many of them actually have quit PACE and gotten into my mentorship class, which if you just got here, I've been investing in real estate for 45 years. I never mislead. I always call bullshit when I see it. I Pace Morby, I think he's a master salesman, definitely not a master of real estate by any stretch. The things that he promotes are just ridiculous. He's been a big exaggerator, outright liar on some things. Just no other nice way to say it. He tells two different stories completely differently. One's a lie, or both aren't true. One or the other. Can't have it any other way, really. But it's this closed loop architecture of his students, which is really fascinating. They sell hope, and then the students buy the hope, go in there with good efforts to become successful, chasing something that is highly improbable. Getting a sub two deal it's ridiculous on so many different counts, and it almost never happens, right? And when it does, it's never really good. In fact, it's usually kind of maybe good for the seller, but not really. If you got a loser buyer that doesn't have two nickels to rub together and has no credit, then maybe he can get his foot in the door on a property he couldn't otherwise buy. But it really sets it up to have a negative equity situation in most situations, and it's it's very fragile because there's too many elements that shouldn't be there. Like having a relationship with the seller after the fact is kind of unusual. A seller having somebody else make payments on their property, now they're leveraged to their teeth and they can't buy anything else. There's all kinds of nightmares that go along with it. But also, hey, if you get a chance, you can get in the chat right now. You can also call live right now, 424-866-7929. PACE supposedly has like 20,000 students and almost zero testimonials, like nothing. And the testimonials that he does have are pathetic. They're horrible. And I've done videos on those and shown them. A person, he calls a testimonial somebody coming in and saying, hey, I'm glad I'm in the class. It's fun. It's really silly. So we'll get into this, and hopefully maybe one of PACE's students or somebody, maybe PACE himself, can jump in. Love it. And we'll talk about it. Anyways, so if you just got here, hit that subscribe button. Listen, YouTube is not kind to me with the algorithm. I often bash and criticize politicians and others. I get penalized for it terribly. I do speak my mind. You don't see me collaborating with a bunch of fake gurus, and you never will. And that's the other thing. Pace is, I mean, he kind of just came out of a puff of smoke, right? All of a sudden he's there and he announces that, oh yeah, I've kind of, I've been doing this for years and things are great, but he never really has any proof that he's done anything well or anything for any amount of time. He makes a claim that he's renovated over 7,000 homes in 10 years, which I ran that even through AI. It's so ridiculous. You would have to renovate, I think, 1.9 homes a day, every day, for that 10 years without a break, not taking a weekend off or anything else. It's so when somebody makes these kinds of claims that are just so ridiculous, you just kind of wonder. It's almost like a politician. They say whatever they can to get elected. But anyways, is there a student out there? Is there anybody out there that would actually like to talk? I would love it if you did. You can call in at that number. Otherwise, if anybody else has any comments on this, and I can already see the algorithm's crushing me right now. Nobody's even seeing this, but it is what it is. But anyways, the claims of renovating so many homes is ridiculous and untrue. It's just untrue. Even AI said if that was the only way that would be possible is to redefine the word renovate to mean something else, like maybe look at it. In fact, I think that would require renovating 700 homes per year. Anybody that's ever gotten a permit knows that's bullshit immediately. But I mean, even if you claimed 25% of that is ridiculous. Uh, Anyways, a number of things. And I don't even know if anybody's hearing me. Maybe I'm going to kill this thing. I'm starting to wonder. Uh, but anyways, on a more positive note, the economy is getting better, and there are more opportunities. And I want to congratulate my recent students. I got some new students here just in the last couple of days, and I just want to tell you that things are. I'm really looking forward to 2026. Myself and a number of my students have all made fantastic deals just in the last few months. Like you go back 6 months, we have some students that have made more than a couple $1,000,000 a piece on single transactions. So it's something that can really happen, and I really hate it because I'm in a sea of fake gurus, and I count Pace in that group. I'm starting to even wonder about Ken McElroy, who I like, and I think he's a nice guy. But there seems to be pressure on these guys to pretend that there's something they're not. They become fake billionaires, make wild claims to large amounts of money that they've made that I know that they have not, and it's very misleading. Beardy Brandon, he says I went from 3 million to 10,000 homes. It sounds impressive, but if you do, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. And obviously, he doesn't own 10,000 homes, but he's extrapolating maybe being a partner on 10,000 doors, which he might have $10,000 in equity in those. But you can mislead it and make it sound like you have $1 billion. So, anyways, anybody out there confused, or anybody out there that's looking for to buy a piece of property, or that wants to get in the game of real estate? I mean, it's an absolutely amazing things that you can do. And I'll just give you a quick look here. I can't show you that. That's actually something I'm buying right now. But like all these properties you see behind me, I bought every one of these properties, except maybe a couple out here that are just on there because I'm looking at them. But all these properties, I've bought every kind of property, the kind of stuff that everybody drives by every day. I think I bought 18 houses in that neighborhood. I bought, this industrial building. I still own that. That was a wonderful deal. I probably only spent $400,000. That's building's worth, more than $2 million, and it brings in a very decent, amount of rent. I'm talking about everybody watching here could probably live on that amount of rent. If people have different real estate fantasies, they want to buy different things, like a retail center. That's one of the retail centers I have right now. In fact, I'm actually considering selling this because I'm trying to buy a couple things that are bigger. Here's this is school. This is actually an old school that I bought. That's an elementary school, not anymore, but now it's kind of a retail and office center that I still own. There's a warehouse. This used to be a skating rink. That's 20,000 square feet. And the other thing is that the stuff that I own is all nearby. Hey, could somebody put something in the chat to give me some feedback here? Otherwise, I'm going to think you're not hearing me. I'm going to kill this thing. But anyways, there's just so many opportunities in real estate, and there can be what I call the honey hole effect, where there's windows of time, and then there's windows of actually like a physical location that can be very, very hot, and I can see them even when I'm looking at this map of deals that I've made in the past. I bought this. This is 50 acres. You see right here, and it has 180 homes on it. Well, I bought it when it was vacant, and I bought it for 205, and I sold it for 2.8 million. Oh, the audio is very low. Well, I appreciate you telling me that. It's still low, even with me this close. Let me know if it's still low. I'll speak up a little bit. Yeah, low audio is never good. Yeah, tell me if it gets any better. That sounds better. That's louder for me in my ears, but I don't know if it's working for you. All right, well, I appreciate that, Ernie. Anyways, anybody care to call in? Please do. People find my channel. And by the way, listen, if this is the first time you stumbled in here, I can tell you right now, you better hit subscribe, because if you don't, you probably never see me again, because the algorithm it favors. It doesn't favor mastery. I'm a master of anybody's master on YouTube on real estate. That's for sure. I don't even know anybody that can show and demonstrate the amount of experience and expertise that I can right here, just on this page right here alone. Okay, you see properties that I bought. They're apartment buildings, commercial buildings. Oh, good. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you helping me on the audio there. Uh, Whatever land. Every kind of property that you drive by, anything that's in any city anywhere. I bought just about everything there is of different types: industrial, commercial, office, large parcels of land, small lots, small houses, multifamily apartments. And so I'm very, very passionate about real estate, and I can back it up. Why? So many of the people that sell the dream, and that's kind of one of the things I was talking about Pace Morby earlier. So many of Pace Morby students, they go in with the bright eyes and the hopes that they're going to make money in real estate, and then they find out that, hey, this is highly improbable. I can't make a deal. And then they see this big community where there's a bunch of bullshitters in there that are like them. They've failed at making money, and now they're selling the dream themselves. So they go in with the idea of making money in real estate, and then what they end up doing is they just hype the dream. And then they start hyping the dream and telling everybody to get in it, including some of their friends and family. And maybe they do that in the beginning out of thinking it's good, but they make a profit on it, right? They take a 10 or 15% commission, getting their friends and family in it. And then what happens is they can't, when they realize this thing's a scam, or if they feel like it's a scam, they realize this is highly improbable. And I'm not saying it's a scam. I think it's legal. I think a lot of it's unethical, but I think it's legal. But because they have a product, it's not a good product, but people buy into this product, and then they get excited, and now they go, how am I going to recoup my 10 grand that I spent getting in this thing? And then the way they're told to recoup it, get your friends in here. It'd be good for them too. So then they sell their friends in it, and then their friends, spend 10 grand, and then they start working tirelessly and get nowhere. And then they start to wear down. And then how do I take care of this tuition? How do I take care of this money? So then it becomes, if you hype it and sell it to your friends and family or other people, you can make another 10, 15. So they end up going in there to sell real estate and make money in real estate. And a lot of them they end up making far more money just hyping other people into this thing. And then they end up feeling guilty. They feel embarrassed. They feel shamed. If they feel shamed if they haven't made money because other people appear to be, or they feel guilty because they've led other people down the same road into something that they feel like they, probably shouldn't have gotten into themselves. And it's just rather depressing. And I've talked to many of these people now, and I've even seen it. I've seen some videos that come out. And if you notice, probably the easiest way, I would just tell you, any of you out there that are actually thinking about getting into Subto or something, or anything, you got to have proof of concept. Don't just let people say, oh yeah, I made a lot of deals. It was great. I had a deal. I got a deal. And without, it's never gonna happen. I mean, if you keep your standards so low, you're gonna hit them, and you're gonna be in just like one of these guys that go in, get into real estate, and then you're gonna realize this is not practical, this is not probable, and then if you're a kid and you're trying to pay your parents back, you probably just hype it for other people to get your money back, and now you're sending 10 more people down the road. So it's just kind of a sad cycle. It's very lucrative for Pace, but it is not so lucrative for the students. And like I say, I've never had a student. I've had students defend Pace, and when I call on them to show me a deal that's worthwhile, it's crickets. They disappear, they hide, and that's it. But if you just use your common sense and you look at the stories he's told stories that have $100,000 discrepancy. His claim of doing 7,000 homes in 10 years is ridiculous. And it's just not transparent. And then the testimonials that come out are just so ridiculously vague that it's like, why? Why? I mean, if there was actually some money there, you would show details on the stuff that you've done. Let's see. Somebody wrote here. I almost need my readers here. Claims 80% of his community made one deal. It doesn't even mean anything. Listen, that doesn't mean anything. You have to understand, deal doesn't mean anything. Deal doesn't mean real estate deal, right? Deal could mean how 80% of his community gave a referral. You follow me? Yeah. BS comment, more like 80% of his community never makes a deal. Yeah, no, I would 100% agree with you. That is the most likely possibility. And like I say, what happens is, are you in PACE? Are you in PACE's group? Because this thing, here's the other thing. People get in the PACE's group and then they start, they'll start to say, this sucks, this is bullshit, or this isn't making sense. And then they're immediately told, hey, you're being negative. And listen, if you're negative, we'll cut you right out of here. So then you got somebody, take some young kid that borrows money from his, in-law and his father, and he owes 10 grand. He tells him it's the greatest thing because his friend told him it's the greatest thing. And he gets in there and he's wearing himself out. He's burning himself out, and he's finding out, he can go find some negative equity sub-2 deal, maybe, which is probably the best thing that happened is that it didn't happen. He leads other people down the same path and makes a commission on them, and now 10 more people are at 10 grand or whatever. And but see, that would count as a deal, by the way. But imagine you borrow 10 grand and then you realize I made a mistake, and now you don't want to admit it, right? You don't want to admit it, and then let's say you start to complain about it. You're told, hey, if you're complaining, we're going to cut you out. Now you're gonna lose what you spent 10 grand on, so you keep your mouth shut. You don't want to admit that you screwed up because you got your parents loaned you the money, and now you've burned this opportunity because maybe somebody loaned you money to get in this course, and you realize it's not likely, it's not very good, it's not for you, and then pretty soon it's like, well, what do I got to do? Well, out of desperation, maybe you just continue the hype to push the course, keep your mouth shut, and then you feel worse about yourself because now you're pushing something, you're pushing something that you failed at to other people, but you're pretending it is lucrative. Please, user whatever your name is that just wrote, expand a little bit, or hop on the phone. Do you have any direct knowledge? Are you in the class? People would like to know. Anybody else got any? Listen, let's pick this up, man. Get out of your comfort zone. Somebody make a freaking phone call. Come on, let's keep this alive a little bit. I can't help it that YouTube just crushes me. 50,000 followers, and I got 8 people watching right now. Listen, people don't even get notified when I get on. People tell me, they say, Tom, I'm on notifications, and I don't get notified when you come up. And I found out that is a thing. So, anyways, whatever you guys want to talk about. Let me just tell you, until somebody wants to, get on the horn here with me. So this closed loop thing is really interesting, though. People go in, and then they become salesmen, and so but it's perfect, and it's a fantastically sinister but brilliant scene. However whether it was designed or haphazardly happened. You've got people that, this is a great community. Everybody loves each other, and Pace is nice because he loves his wife and he has kids. What a great criteria, what a great standard to rate a guru on, right? And so they get in, and then it's always, the aspect is always pushed. Oh, you joined after 8 days. Let's see. I joined, and after 8 days, I demanded my money back and was told I can only get a refund within 3 days. That is the law, by the way. That is the law. Such a scam. So you didn't get your money back. Well, that's very, very interesting. So I'm glad, because, listen, man, get on the horn here. Because I had somebody else told me a similar story. He got his money back, though, by the way. He went in, and he said, this is bullshit. He said, this is like a cult. He said, he the 3 days hadn't quite gone by on him. And they told him, they tried not to give him his money back, but he did get his money back. But he basically said he was told almost immediately about, don't talk negative, because if you do, we reserve the right to cut you out. And that's like, he wasn't even there in 3 days. And so he said, yeah, screw that, I'm out right now. And so he got out. But think about how many guys like you got burned. But do you understand what I'm talking about? This is interesting. I really like to, I wish you would get on there. I wish you'd make the phone call, but I like that. that you're honest enough to share like this, because a lot of people don't want to. A lot of people see, I don't know your situation, because you got guys that are already established, and I got guys in my class that spend it, and they're like, you know what, I threw 10 grand away, but that's not their only 10 grand. But somebody young that throws 10 grand, that they had to borrow the 10 grand, that is devastating. It's like just wiping you out when you're in your prime. You don't want to start 10 grand in debt and not have anything to move forward with. And so that's why I say, it's a sewer out there. It's just a swamp out there. And Pace is not the only one that is selling highly improbable stuff out there. Most of them do. They try to make it sound easier than it is. People go in, find out it's not so easy, get discouraged, and then they feel like failures because it seems like everybody else is doing well, but they don't realize not everybody else is doing well. They're pretending to do well because they're hyping the class to make sales, and get commissions. So those of you that are out there that maybe you have felt like, hey, like you're in Pace Morby's group and you feel like a failure and you feel like you're the one in the community that's not making money, it's not true. I would guess that 87% or more aren't making anything, and then the rest are making peanuts. Just based on what I've talked to, I have no actual knowledge, but I can tell you that from what I've gathered, you have a 222% better chance of making money in my mentorship than you do in Paces. And I just base that on the testimonials. I have hundreds of students and maybe 30, 40 testimonials. Pace, I think, currently has like 5 or 6 testimonials or some ridiculous amount. And they're not even specific to making money. None of them made money. In fact, none of them, I don't think, made any money. And so it's just unbelievable to have so few testimonials and such horrible testimonials when you have 20,000 students. It's just unbelievable. Why even waste your time talking about? Well, there is a reason. Because guys like this guy here that paid, got burned for 7 or 10 grand. I don't want them to think that is representative of all the schooling that's out there. I'm the real deal. My students make real money. So sometimes people like yourself, come in and they're, maybe they're even looking around and they've either been burned or they feel burned by Pace, or they are looking at Pace, and then I say, hey, well, here's an alternative. Take a look at what I've got here. And, these are not vague testimonials. These and my students, many of them are millionaires. And I've only been teaching for like 5 years, but I've been investing for 45 years. Does that answer your question, by the way? So it's not a complete waste of my time, by the way. I just want you to know that. And so, I wish some of you, hey, we're up to 14, man. We're getting hot. Would somebody call in? You call in. Somebody call in. There's the number. It doesn't cost you anything. Just call. And cause it just makes for a better time, right? But I'm really fascinated. So here's a student that said he joined, and after 8 days, he demanded his money back. Why did you demand your money back? Share. Or man, it'd be better if you got on the phone, dude. If you just call up and get on the phone, it'd be much more entertaining for everyone. Anybody else out there buy the course? So I just tell you, listen, I think many of you buy the course because I believe I've had arguments with people online where they're very defensive of Pace, and I'd say, well, show me what you've made. Show me where Pace has ever made $100,000. They can't do it. They can't show anything. And even Pace, the deals that he has said, oh, this could work out. Now it might be a negative, you may be negative on your monthly payment, but at least you own the place, and I'm paraphrasing, which is of course is ridiculous. And and he acts like equity, the saying, right? Equity comes, equity goes. But the cash will always float, which of course is ridiculous. It's stupid. I mean, you have to be a child to believe that, and many people they're not childs, but they're just gullible. And I like I say, I the only time I ever get hard on a Pace student is when they push back and they say, oh no, this is real, and then I'll say, okay, well show me, prove it, and then they're like, oh, well, Kevin Cho made a deal, and they don't have any. In other words, they're relying on rumors of profits, not direct knowledge. And in the, whatever. I've seen somebody say, yeah, me and three people split 12 grand. He had Pace said, look at this young man. He made $5,000. And I'm paraphrasing again. And he says, how much are you going to make this year? And he goes, well, I think I'm going to make 200,000. So because this kid thinks he's going to make 200,000 because he made 5,000, and then Pace says, look, at 19 years old, he's going to make $200,000. Well, even Pace knows that's bullshit. But, and I would love to talk to Mr. 74, Mr. 84. These are a couple of guys that are in his videos, and, oh yeah, I've done 74 deals. I've done, whatever, Gator lending and this and that and the other, but never quantifies anything he's saying with, I made some money and this is how much. They don't want to say because it's so pathetic, or they don't want to say because maybe most of their money came from referrals, and that what you're watching right now is a design commercial to get your interest to sell, and maybe they even get a piece of that action. I was critical the other day because I did a review on this guy here, and I after watching him, I realized I thought this guy's probably as full of bull as anybody else that I've seen with Pace. His name's Carl Kargas, and says he's an investor, but he's not a very bright investor. When you're a smart investor and you've been around a long time, you can. It's like stolen valor. It's like some guy says he was in the Vietnam War, and he starts talking to a vet that actually was in the war, and he realized, oh, this guy's a lying sack of shit. And you can kind of quickly pick that up. And I don't mean that he's a lying sack, but what I'm trying to say is, you can quickly detect that this guy is not a very good investor, not a very savvy investor. And the fact that he's making so much of, I wanted to learn about creative finance. You know what I mean? It's like, can you be that dumb? Or are you simply setting people up for something else? And as he got into the story a little further, in the end, he said, oh yeah, go to the links below. And, I might make a few bucks on it, but again, that was the whole point of the video. That was kind of the whole point of the video. And I feel like maybe he's one of those guys, because he says, no, I'm doing deals. I want to learn about Subto and got one more tool in my tool belt, and I would tell you that's like the last tool you're ever going to need. I appreciate the questions, but I don't appreciate the lack of follow-up and some of you. So anyways, but it's always a pleasure, you guys coming in here and talking when you talk, but when you don't, it's kind of a letdown. But what do you guys want to do? Tell me what you want to do. You want to watch some of the, maybe I'll stop and restart the video, and we'll go, I'll attack somebody else, some fake guru and something else. I don't know. Anybody got anything? Any questions? How about a question? Any question on real estate? I know a lot about real estate. Been doing it for a very long time. You're an investor. What do you think this is a good time or a bad time? I can tell you it's always a good time. It's always a good time. It's always a good time to invest in real estate. And that's another thing you can kind of tell when somebody doesn't have a lot of experience. They'll say, now is the time. No, it's always the time. It's always the time. It's not just now. It's not just, the market's too hot or the market's too cold. It's always a good time, because whatever's going on, there's a reaction of some sort. So, it might create more desperation, which makes for more sales. People lose jobs, and I can tell you, even like when COVID happened, I started looking at there were certain bars and things that started getting hurt. Well, those guys, some of them needed to sell. They own other real estate. Well, they started fire selling some of that real estate. So there's an opportunity to buy from people that are hurting from this, because they're offering their properties. And there's all kinds of things that bring about opportunities. Sometimes it's economy, or is booming, or sometimes it's dragging and dying, or a big industry goes out in a certain area. People are losing their jobs, and there's all kinds of things that bring about opportunity, and they're everywhere, and it happens everywhere in the USA. And that's why when you see something like this, I just tell you, use your head. Think. If you can find a mentor, I'll just even tell you right now, if you can find a mentor that can do what I do right here, can show you this kind of property, this much property bought, that close, and these are just maybe 5-10 miles apart at the most. From one end to the other, most of the stuff is near each other. Look at all this stuff, and I'm talking about everything: office buildings. There's a restaurant. I've got houses. I've got everything that you drive by every day. That's the kind of stuff. There's a warehouse I own. Here's an office across the street. 16,000 square foot office. You know, all this stuff is out there and can be had. And if you really want it, you have to have a passion for it. But you can make deals like this. You can get a lot of stuff and own a lot of property and have a lot of rental income. And it is possible. You're not going to get there listening to a fake guru. So anyways, if you're on the fence and you're looking out there, now you know who to talk to. And we'll start up again here. Maybe we'll start another video on a different topic. But again, thanks for watching, everybody. And get in a webinar. I got a webinar coming every Thursday, 7 p.m. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. I have a webinar you can get into. Just go to flipanythingusa.com. Take you there real quick. Go to flipanythingusa.com. And right here at the top of the page, you see up here above my head on this one, right there, hit webinar. And just a quick little form to fill out. And you can have a free call with me, which I charge. Consultation. You can talk to me for $2,000 an hour. And I got to make something when I'm doing that. But I'll talk to you for free if you fill out the mentorship form. Because really, I'm not all about money. I help people all the time for free. People will tell you that. And anyways, look forward to hearing from you all soon. You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, flipanythingusa.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face-to-face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years.